Marge, you're 100 years old. That's you and the church are 100 years old together.
Yes.
Isn't that something?
And it's only weeks apart from her birthday, actual birthday, to the first service, which was held at Grand Chapel, because the church wasn't built yet.
Yeah. Too bad they didn't plan on parking.
Well, I'd like you to start by telling me when you began attending the Church of St. Michael St. George.
I think I was 6 or 8 years old.
Okay.
And I went with another two gals besides my sister, and they were Jean and Elsie Ford. And their grandmother's chauffeur would pick us up. I guess our family slept. And they'd take us to the church. And I remember the automobile. Of course, we were all inside, but the chauffeur was out in the open. Now, you're too young to know there were cars like that. And we go to church, and the church was, the school was in the basement, the Sunday school.
Okay.
We didn't have the great hall, and I can't remember. I think I was married when they built that. I was married in 33.
It had been built because it was built around 1929. They merged in 28, and I think then that's when the parish hall was moved and the tower built, and so it was around, but all that, but it wasn't the great hall, it was an auditorium.
And of course it was St. Michael's and All Angels when I went to Sunday school there. I don't remember whether all those houses were built on Ellenwood. I don't think so. It wasn't that important when I was 6 or 8, I guess, that I was taking in everything. If I'd only known I was going to be interviewed when I was 100, I would have listened. I always loved that church. And that. I think a minister named Dr. Norton, could that be right?
Mm-hmm. That's right. He was one of the first, I think he was the first
he was
rector.
such a nice man.
Confirmed. I assumed you were,
Yeah.
I don't know whether you, and then,
I was older than that, though, then.
well, you were probably 9th grade or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And then you were married there to my
In
father in
in
1933, February 9th, 1933. And he had moved here from Utica, New York,
That's right.
and he was an Episcopalian.
Yes.
So,
You know, it's amazing. Both my husbands were Episcopalians. So that was a nice stroke of luck, better than belonging to the Holy Rollers or something.
but when St. Peter's was built out on Warson Road, it had moved from Lindell and Spring.
That's right.
And it was built, across the street from Marian Institute. And I have a recollection of the family, because we grew up in Oakley Lane, which was very near there, of the family making a decision about should we switch to St. Peter's because it's so nearby, or go to St.
2
Michael's.
minutes away.
Yeah, and I remember, my brothers were acolytes, and we're going to stay at St. Michael's. And
I'm
we have
glad
ever, there were a number of times that you would call a taxi cab for Claire and me, and we would go off, and we were in a junior choir with Paul Freese. I can remember the classes. I can remember an old, the original children's chapel was up over the Great Hall in a room up there, because what is the library and the table was all a, open 2-story building. I mean, it was all open.
You were all christened there, too.
Yeah, we were baptized. And then I remember the 9:30 service was for the Sunday school kids and their teachers. The parents went later. And that's why I think we sometimes went in a taxi cab. And
That's not true. Well, I wouldn't dream of putting those little girls in a taxi cab.
Well, maybe our brothers went with us too. Something like that.
She's making that up. But go ahead.
And streetcar tracks were all there.
Right up the middle of Wydown.
Wide up the middle of Wydown.
When did Dr. Block come?
I don't know, Dr. Sant was there. He was before.
He was before. But Dr. Block, we used to laugh and say he'd swallow the dictionary. Whenever he gave a sermon, there were so many words in it that none of us understood. We said he swallowed the dictionary. But you know, things like Michael's is so wonderful to come out here every Friday at 11:30, and sometimes there are 12 people and sometimes there are 20. Sometimes there are only 8. Robin and Mike come and they're just wonderful.
Well, Mom keeps saying to me, what's such a big deal about being 100?
Yeah. I can't take credit for it. Must be genes or... Well, actually, I'm scared to death I'm going to live much longer. I mean, this is long enough.
I want to know, Marge, you and the church are the same age, but you look better than the church. How do you do it? I want to know, what's your secret?
Oh, the church. I love the church. Active church, isn't it?
It is. Was it like that before?
I don't think like it is today. I was
No?
busy with 4 children. And also it was during the... Part of the time was during the war.
Right. What was
My
that
day
like?
began at 5:30 in the morning to give Claire a bottle. She was a baby, and then with the laundry and everything, we didn't have any help. And it was 4 children. It was something.
Now, my father was, because he was on the vestry. I know he was an usher. We had a youth group, and I can't remember, was it called Quakers or something like that? I think there was such a sense of community with that. And then even with our kids, there were some activities, but not to the degree that there is today.
I don't
And also
think
the
so.
outreach ministries have skyrocketed. I mean, St. Michael's Houses, I remember being one of the really earliest big kind of outreach. All 3 of our boys were baptized and confirmed at St. Michael's.
A couple of them were acolytes, weren't they?
Oh, they all were.
All were.
Yeah, they all. I think it's just been, for us, at least my view of all this is that St. Michael's is just a part of our life.
Mm-hmm.
When we had Mom's 100th birthday celebration, it had Robin and Mike and Andrew and Daisy, because his mom felt St. Michael's was just
Part of the family.
Part of the family.